Computer. Lights.
Morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Noticing that I was going to say my lights haven't caught on that it's showtime yet. Must be starting a little earlier than usual, but that's okay. We'll get there. Okay, so today we're already working on this, getting things squared away for this. So I went on ahead and went to Mixam's website and looking at the website. Hang on real quick. We're counting back from the 19th, right? So we've got until the 18th max on this. Good morning, Patsy. How are you doing? We're prepping for print here today. Always a fascinating thing. Good morning, Brent. Okay, so looking at the Mixam website, Mixam, my zip code is 80003, so it puts in the middle of Arvada. I'm looking at through here. We got about looking at just 25 copies. Let's see what happens when we get 50 copies and how that changes our price. And it's about $75. So kind of looking at where we are here on this. We have what we call 4 sides. Okay, so that's 4 pages or 4 sheets of paper is what it is. So when you talk about web press, they print on a large piece of paper and then you have to talk about its sides. And that's one side. So 4 pages equals 1 side. That's why we went for 16 pages on this, was because if I can get to 16 pages, then we've got 4 sides. Anything less than that, and we have to kind of dink around and screw around with sides. So we've got 4 sides and a cover, which technically is the 5th side. So that's going to be kind of a different thing here. We're going to run cover paper. Doesn't have to be 100 pound. It can be 80. I guess it should be 100 pound. I wonder if I can get this less than 80 pound. I remember you want one. So, kind of looking at this, we got a gloss lamination that brings it up $8. Matte lamination, soft touch, UV gloss, spot UV. Some of these things do cool stuff, but I feel like a gloss lamination is probably best for this. Or maybe just gloss paper instead of laminate. Because if we just do gloss paper, yeah. Because I think that's probably our best bet. That keeps it at about $72. They'll be shipping it out on the 7th. If I put it in today, I'm not going to be able to do that today. We know that. We're probably going to roll it Friday, which will be fine. Because you think about it, we're going to be working on it today and tomorrow, and then it'll be prepped and ready. Because we've got one more thing we need to do, which is fit these things to the Mixam page, right? So this is their templates for what they're after. So we've got to go in here and kind of mess with these templates. So not a problemo. Okay, but looking at where we are here, kind of looking at this, and I'm like, see, right now it'll be here by the 10th of March, which is fine. Looking at our calendar, that would put it in a full week before it needs to be in. So even at their maximum printing time, that gives us a lot of error room. So we're a little bit easier. Why is this fastest though? And like, can I get it cheaper by dropping it down a page or a day or two? What I do like is they have the manga standard page, which I think is awesome. So when we finally do print out actual comics that are not a tech manual, we can do that just fine, and we can come in here and Mixam will paint or we'll print out in manga standard, which is pretty kick butt. Wonder if it changes the price. We didn't even check that. Holy crap. Oh man, that's markedly cheaper. Except that, of course, it's also going to be tankobon, so it'll be this big. We don't want it to be that big yet. The tech manual needs to be the normal size. But that's still funny. That's really cheap. And that does... Well, no, I mean, it would be tankobon sized, and I don't think we're ready to do that yet. So, but if we do manga standard and the colors throughout, I mean, like, that's the only problem I've got is like, if we do this and we do something that's got, say, 16 sides, right? This isn't bad, right? I mean, $56 for 50 copies. It's gonna be, whatever that is, $1.06 a copy. For a tankobon, that's not bad. Even if we get up 24 sides. That's 2 episodes of Bellatrix there. 24 sides would be 2 episodes. So that's not bad. Yeah. Right? It's not bad at all. And if I make this like 100 copies, it drops it down to $1.15 each for 24 sides. So in theory, we could be doing these pretty well. Oh, also news on the Webtoons front. I sent them a couple of examples of comics. And the first example I sent, I found this very entertaining. So watch this. Okay, so we'll go here. I sent them an example of Negima. This is, we got Photoshop open, so I can just put it through into Photoshop. So this is a page from Negima. 20 minutes from now. There we go. Right? This page shows the Negima girls, but without any details. So they removed all the details out of the page and stuff like that. And so I was saying that okay, would this be acceptable, right? Because this is you can buy it on a shelf at a bookstore today here in America. You can buy this, right? And then they said, and then while I was at it, I was like, well, maybe I should also give them an example of, hang on real quick, of Bellatrix. So I went on ahead and did the same treatment to 2 pages we've already done in Bellatrix, right? So these 2 pages have Chang in bed, but she's just talking to Jen. But she's not wearing clothes because that's the nature of the beast. And I did the same thing. I just removed the nipples and stuff from this scene. And they wrote back and said, the Negima one wouldn't pass. You couldn't publish the Negima one. However, your Bellatrix one's totally acceptable. And we were like, nice. I was like, sweet. So Ken Akimatsu can't put Negima on Webtoons because it's a little too sexual. But I can put Bellatrix on Webtoons because we're clear. So I was like, yeah. And I gave them literally my comic. So we're good. So we are clear for Webtoons. All I have to do is just erase the offending parts, and that's fine. There'll be 2 versions of it, one with the offending pieces erased and one without. And that'll be great. So, okay. We've done the analysis on Mixam now. I think really looking at this, we probably should do 50 copies in US standard, color throughout. It's a little expensive, but that's all right. And only 4 sides. So I feel like, yeah, there will be a print version. There'll be 3 versions of it. There'll be the print version. There'll be the website version, which is on gsdavisart.com. And then there'll be the Webtoons version, which will be edited. So, and the print version and the Patreon version will be the same, which is unedited. And the website version, I won't put it on my website for a while. I'll upload to my website over time. So I may or may not even mess with it. I might just leave it alone and never go to my website. We'll have to see. Because, I mean, the truth is, that would be a thing, and all patrons would get access to it. Right? That's what I was thinking too, is I could sell, at $1.44 each. Oh, you mean these? Yeah, the tech manual I probably shouldn't sell for much more than like $3. It's just a tech manual. Because it's only going to be 4 sides. But the tankobons, that could be a different story. You know what I mean? The tankobons could sell for a reasonable price, and that would be kind of fun. What is Spot UV? Right. How much does soft touch lamination make it? Oh, not that much worse. Right? That's not bad. I could do like a UV matte. I wish they would do things like that's a good question. One that I have not, in fact, thought of. Yeah, we talked about that for NDK. We did. I could, I mean, really, all of my shows are out on YouTube. I could just snag all of these things because you're allowed to download your own stuff off of YouTube. I could just snag all of my own videos off of YouTube and string them together to make an 8-hour loop. You know, I mean, I could just do that and that would be fine. Because I was thinking about that. I was like, oh crap, I'm not downloading the streams off of here. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think I. Okay. You certainly can. Do you just have like a single monitor that just plays stuff? Because I was just going to bring my Surface and sit my Surface and flip it around, aiming out, you know. So, not the monitor. You're going to have a big, what you're going to send me is a projector that's like 5,000 candle power. So I can just project it on the ceiling of the convention hall. I think this is a great idea. It's either that or a Molotov cocktail, because then we'd have a completely different problem. Then we'd have a different problem. Okay, here's what we're going to do. First of all, this is all. I find it interesting that the back and the front cover pages are different. And oh, I see. They've just got their. Oh, I see. They've got the red line to indicate where things are. You know what? I'm just going to save all of these things as JPEGs. So, not here though. I can't see anything on that page. So we will go to Guy the Artist, Shared Resources, Templates. New folder. Print templates. I probably should put 2022 because somewhere along the line, I know they're going to change these things. One here, and then I'm not allowed to save as anything. Why do they do this to me? And now I have to go find where I went because, of course, save a copy is in a different spot. Shared resources, templates, mix them. Okay. JPEG. You make a fake fireplace. I love it. I have to. Sound and all, huh? So does it just have a small SSD or a USB drive, or what's the story on it? What's its storage? Micro SD. JPEG. So what we're doing, by the way, is I can't load PDFs in Clip Studio, so I'm using Photoshop to save everything, to load the PDF in, render the pages, and then kick them out as JPEGs. Then we can go back to here and fire off Clip Studio. So you just take this Raspberry Pi and you just plug in the SD card and stick it in the back of a TV and run a cable. Yes, this is where we're at, right? I'm just saying. Why are these not found? How are these not found? And why is the business card found, but the rest of it not? You're sending me things. You're sending me things. Okay. Aren't these little teeny, like, can't you actually like do computer stuff on those too? By the way, this has me concerned. They're talking an awful lot about volume pricing and subscriptions. And it worries me because one of the reasons I have left Adobe, or will have left Adobe, is because of subscriptions. And I don't want to subscribe. All right. We need to fix the trade dress on everything. Because everything ended up trade dressy in the wrong way. About the size of a box of matches? Well, I can kind of ascertain how big it is from the HDMI port on its side. Okay, this is page 4. Oh, it's mini HDMI. What are its other 2 ports? Are those like USB-C? And see, now I'm looking at this. Wow. How is it that, I mean, it's a 1 gigahertz CPU, 512 megs of RAM. Just so weird. I mean, if you think about kind of the way that we've lived our lives, I mean, that's light years past my very first PC, right? I mean, totally beyond anything that I have ever done. And I find that highly entertaining. Right? I mean, first of all, let's open up. Oh, that's why we don't find trade dress. Everything got moved back and forth. That's why. Right? But I mean, 1 gigahertz. I'm going to resave this. That is remarkable. Remarkable. I don't know why I have my email up. I shouldn't have my email up. Just closing my email. So no need to get it up and running. Let's open. We only need one of these, so I'm going to do this. I forgot what I was doing. Here we go. We're going to go get all of the things that we just saved. We just saved them. Shared resources in templates. And this is the printing template. Okay. Front cover page. Let's do this. First, let's just go ahead and put everything that needs to be together. Okay. So here is the template for the front cover page. We have a front cover page. So let's go ahead and bring that in. Open. I'm going ahead and rig this up. So do we think we want to make this $3 as the cover price, and I can say that I'm either putting it on for sale or I can decide to make it cheaper or not as I see fit. Well, hello. Kitsueki. Ketsueki. Hone. Hone Ketsueki. Welcome to the show. I'm doing fine. How are you? It's good to have you here. Well, if it's read in Japanese or English, I can do it. um, but any other language, and it's going to be complicated for me. Not impossible, though. But I have like difficulties with Slavic languages, and I have difficulties with some European languages. Most Asian languages I'm okay with. It's in Japanese. Well, welcome then. I just, I, my eyes. I spend too much time looking at screens, and so I have to look because it's a darker blue on a black background or gray background. So I am putting together a technical manual. I have a convention deadline. I'm going to be doing a convention in 3 weeks. And so we're going to be putting this technical manual out on the table. And this is to my new comic series that I'm writing right now. That'll be out on Webtoons and will be sold in a physical form. And so that's what we're doing here. We're doing what's called page setting, which is where we set this up to put it on a page for print. And so I'm setting my cover, and I'm setting the cover price. So we're kind of doing that kind of thing. So where are you coming in from, Hone-san? Are you coming in from the US? Or are you coming in from Japan? If so, it's really late at night in Japan. 1:32 a.m. Oh, you're from Thailand. Sweet. It's still pretty early there, isn't it? Like 2:30? Because it's I can see that it's 1:30 in 1:30 a.m. tomorrow in Japan. Because right now it is 9:33 a. Well, it's 9:33 a.m. Denver time, and so that's where I am. I'm in Colorado, and so it's almost midnight. So you're behind by 1 hour or 2 hours. 2 hours. Cool. Perfectly reasonable. 2 hours. Awesome. Have you guys been having bad weather? I've been hearing that we've had some like really weird weather in Japan, but I haven't heard whether it's gotten across the Sea of Japan yet or not, or whether it was hitting Korea or China. Oh, we're not in monsoon season, are we? We're not. No, that's quite a few months away from monsoon season. Oh, that was brutal. Monsoon season sucked. So I taught English in Japan for many years. And so I'm very familiar with like the weather. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, if there's a difference between the two countries, but I do know that sometimes the cyclones will go up and then over and then like hit the mainland. So, so yeah, I'm a manga style artist, which I mean, I kind of picked that all up. And what we're doing is we're doing this. This is a tech manual. So I don't have pages ready to go yet for my comic. So I'm, not in time for a March 19th convention. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put together some of the background information that I've been doing for my comic, which is done in preparation. And so I'm going to try to pull that up here and see what I can find for you to show you. Where is it? Okay, so I'm in the wrong folder over here. I'm also a Trekkie, if you haven't noticed. I'm sorry. Okay. We've got, let's see here, tech manual. And I'll show you some of the pages we've got going for the tech manual. We're going to be working on them today, trying to kind of get them up and running for this. But hey, you can be kind of our guinea pig, because if you're not familiar with the story, then you can see whether this is interesting or not. It may or may not be, but all of us have been, like Brent and I have been working. Brent is the other person who's on here. Brent and I have been working on this for a while, and so I can open this up for you. We're loading things. Don't apologize for loving Star Trek, says Patsy. I don't know if I'm apologizing for loving Star Trek so much as just apologizing for being a geek, I guess. So, so this is my main character, and you can see her on the cover here too. She's the captain of a ship called the Kittiwake, which is this guy right here. And we finished up doing this page and dressing it up yesterday. And now we finished dressing up this page too. We've got the cover going. The universe I've sort of built it's 500 years from now. Earth was destroyed by a cataclysmic event at the end of a war, and an Earthling saved the galaxy effectively, but accidentally destroyed Earth. So because of that, the galactic citizens gathered together to rescue as many people off of Earth as possible. And they all moved to various other stars, not the least of which is Bellatrix, which is the left shoulder of Orion. So if you look at the Orion constellation, the big bright red one is Betelgeuse, and it's supernovae, and the other shoulder is Bellatrix. And so they moved to the Bellatrix zone over here, which is these guys, these stars, right? And there's Bellatrix right there, right? And these are all the stars that are right around Bellatrix. And then this is the gap over here. And there's a cloud that is at the edge right here called the wall, which is this huge cloud of dust and particles. And the ships have to slow down when they go through the wall, because of course, we've got a superluminal setup where the ships can go faster than the speed of light. And it's called in-space drive. But it can go much faster out here than it can in the wall. So the stories that we tell here with this ship called the Kittiwake, the stories are all about this ship and her crew going from planet to planet and kind of doing stuff and having adventures. Originally, I had written a Star Trek comic, and it was actually my dad that said, "You can't make any money off of a Star Trek comic, so why don't you just keep the stories but rewrite the universe?" And since COVID hit, we weren't going anywhere and we weren't doing anything, so I just started world building, and I'm coming to the end of world building, and now I'm just taking my old Star Trek comic and repurposing the stories and putting them through now in this new universe that I've built. So that's where we are, and it's all going to happen live, and I'm going to continue to live stream this every day from 9 to 11 Mountain Time. So I guess that would be from 11 to 1 your time. So that will work. So that's where we've got now, and what we're trying to do is just page set these guys so that they can get onto the right pages. So I'm going to continue on here with what we were doing. And thank you for giving me a little break there, because that was kind of fun. Okay, so this is the cover. We're going to take the cover, and I feel like I probably want to push that. So I'm going to go on ahead and just take to this spot right here and grab that. I'm just going to push this up like so. That way I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it being cut with a white line. That would be awesome. It would be perfectly cool. We'll get there. We'll get there. Stick with me. Stick with me. We're going places. We're going places. Okay. I'm going to take this now, and I'm going to go on ahead and try to get it onto the Maxim template. So this is the standard template from the printing company that I'm going through, and they want me to fit to this size. So we're going to real quickly hit Control Shift and E, and that flattens all visible layers. And then Control A to copy, or Control A to select all, Control C to copy, and then Control V pastes. And I'm already noticing we have a size difference. I hope it's not that bad. Okay, so I'm going to put this up there. Yeah, we have a size difference. Okay. So we're just going to make sure that we are level here, because I'm clearly, my master pages are higher than their print pages. Should, however, I'm using Clip Studio Paint. No, the wall should be fine. I think the wall is going to be interesting. Patsy's talking about the wall. So, Patsy, real astronomy here. We live in a bubble. So the Earth and Sol and Alpha Centauri and Sirius, and if you go all the way out to Lalande 21185 and then to like Gliese 5115, you move out quite a ways. Then the star Vega, and you keep going out further and further. You get to the end of, well, you know what? I have a map. It's like literally a map here. Yes, we can apply the transformation. We live in, where is it? Because we just had it. We're working right here. This bubble right here. And probably what they believe that has happened, what the astronomers believe has happened, is the Pleiades is a birthing nebula. There's a lot of stars being born in there, and a lot of stars are starting and then failing. And it's a big chunk of stars. And everything in our galaxy is kind of like globular slime. Everything's slimy. So if you imagine how slime is, where it gets sticky and kind of stringy and you can pull it apart like cheese, that's very much how the galaxy works. And if you're not in a cluster, you move faster through the galaxy than these clusters. They're called open clusters or closed clusters. Pleiades is a closed cluster. It's a grouping of stars. It's really tight together. And so the closed cluster weighs more than our star. So it's moving slower through the galaxy than our star is. And so we moved into an open bubble that they believe was opened up by the Pleiades a long time ago. And we moved into this open bubble. There's nothing in here. It's empty in this zone right through this section. Right here is this wall of clouds, gas, high level hydrogen, stuff like that. It's not easy to see, but it's there. So here's the unity. The Pleiades is here. Here's the wall exclusion zone. And then here is Betelgeuse, right? Or what's left of Betelgeuse, because 500 years from now, it actually exploded 1,000 years ago in the story. So it exploded 500 years ago today, but we won't see it because the explosion or the visual of the star exploding travels at the speed of light. So it can only move, and of course, that's it's about 750 light years away. So it's taking time. It'll take 750 years for the signal of the explosion to get to Earth. So right now, there's what we call the Betelgeuse light line. And when you're in a ship traveling this way, across ways like this, you will watch as Betelgeuse is a star, it will explode. And then as you pass the other side of the light line, it'll return to being a star. Brian's joining us, looks like. Looks like we got Brian. So hang on. He's still getting in here, but I see him coming up online over here. So yeah, Hone, I'm working on Clip Studio Paint. I'm trying very hard to move away from Photoshop because I'm not happy with Adobe anymore. They are driving me absolutely crazy. This is the Orion Nebula structure, by the way, out here. It's called a superstructure. Can't see you yet, Brian. So I'll wait until I can see you before I bring you into the show. So you dink with your camera until it works. So there we go. That's Brian. Hey, Brian, you're here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you even.
Oh, hey, there we go.
So I'll add your stream to this, and then we'll do something like so. I'm actually going to swap places with you so that we can do that, because I think that's probably better.
Oh, no.
And then I'll have to readjust where my camera is. But that's okay. I can do that. Just put it right here. And you could still see me. And I'm just a little person in the corner. So we have a viewer in here. Yeah, not happy. We have a viewer coming in on Twitch. So we've got a new viewer today. So that's kind of cool. Coming in from Thailand. So they will probably... it's really late there. So I'm worried. It's all right. So, okay. So moving through is that a manga bookshelf behind you? They ask.
Actually, that's a DVD bookshelf behind me with anime. So
Yeah.
close enough, I guess.
Close enough. So, okay, cool. What you working on, bro?
New art.
New art. Nart.
Yes, because I'm going to work on trying to get some prints for the con coming up.
So, okay, so last night I was hanging out with Brian. This is where this is all coming from. I was hanging out with Brian, and he was asking me, "Oh, how's everything going?" "Oh, it's going great." And I said, "But I'm behind trying to get ready for the con." And he's like, "What con?" And so I told him, and he contacts Tim, and who's the head of the con, and Tim's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll give you a table." So now you're on deadline too.
Yes.
Congratulations. And it's all my fault. I blame myself openly for this. So, yeah, that's a funny sort of, oh no, I don't know what we're doing here. Okay, so I downloaded the templates from Mixam.com, Mixam.com. This is for anybody who wants to actually do this as well. They certainly can. So, but I'm more really trying to alert Brian, who may, need this information. Anyway, so I downloaded the templates, and I'm noticing that my sizes for 11 by 17 don't match. So
what template is this?
They're printing templates.
Ooh.
So that's just so you're aware, if you're using standard Strathmore paper for your stuff, which you're not, but I'm using a scan of Strathmore paper. So for the benefit of those online, Strathmore paper, and here I'll switch.
For people playing the home game.
Strathmore makes these wonderful pages, which you can't see because they're blue line, but they've got blue lines on them that tell you where to draw and where pieces of this will be. So honey, I use an XP Pin 22E monitor, and I actually have a stylus. So I can't actually easily show you the monitor, but it's a 22-inch monitor, so it's the same size as my 19-inch, roughly. My 19-inch monitors for my main computer, not you. Never mind. But it's a monitor for which it has a stylus, so I just use this pen. And I have two pens. One's charging over there on the charging bay. I found using PC. Sorry. Brent is trying to get me to stop triggering Alexa. So this is another thing that's been happening. As a Star Trek fan, I have found that I can set the trigger word for Alexa to be COMPUTER. And so I can make, I can say things like, "Computer, what's the weather today?"
Currently, in Arvada, it's 14 degrees Celsius with mostly cloudy skies. Today, you can expect partly sunny weather with a high of 20 degrees and a low of 3 degrees.
It's going to be 20 degrees today. That's awesome. That's like short sleeve weather. I won't even need a light jacket for that. I've already decided that 10 degrees to 20 degrees is roll down the windows in the car and drive with the windows down. 20 degrees to 30 degrees, I got to turn on the AC. 30 degrees to 40 degrees, I just live underneath my I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You can't make me.
Do you have that thing set in Celsius? Is that what's going on?
Yeah. Oh, no, that's all in Celsius, honey. It's 14 degrees Celsius. Or actually, it says 11 degrees Celsius, but still, that's what I actually have been using Celsius for multiple reasons. One, I'm trying to get my kid to learn Celsius, and so I want them to instinctually know it, so that way when they wander anywhere in the world besides here, they can tell what a kilogram is, and they know what a meter is, and they know what Celsius, what 10 degrees Celsius means. Under 10 degrees, I wear a light jacket. Under 0 degrees, I start thinking about a heavy jacket, but I really don't need a heavy jacket until about -5 or -10. But yeah, I can't deal with above 30 is unreasonable. In fact, above 25 and I start getting uncomfortable. When I was in Tokyo it would hit the summers, and the summers would get up into the high 30s, and with like 100% humidity. And I was like, I don't even know how humans live like that. That's not even reasonable. But I'm a Colorado guy. It's nice and temperate here with no humidity. So I mean, right? Exactly. Thailand. I want to go visit Thailand. Thailand seems like such a wonderful place.
It is a wonderful place.
Yeah, except in the summer. I'm not coming in the summer. I'm sorry. I am totally willing to come visit you, though, but not in the summer. It's going to have to be spring or fall. Yeah, my best friend is trying to set up a trip to head back to Japan, and he's talking about going in August. And I'm like, are you insane?
Don't do that. No.
Are you insane? Have you no sense of
Self-preservation?
Self-preservation. We're just gonna die. Like, we're all Coloradans. We can't handle that. It's gonna be 40 degrees Celsius. It's gonna be 100% humidity. It's gonna be brutal. Okay, break over. Let's get back to work. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and just call that page 1. I'm gonna save that down, because that's the cover. We really should talk about the back page because we don't have a back cover, right? So these are all the things that it's great to do page setting for, because once we do all the page setting, we don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder. I'm going to call it completes. And I'm going to say Matrix Rising 0, manual, PC. And the C stands for cover. But I probably should say 0. 0. Because we actually, remember how I was talking earlier about sides?
Are you talking to me?
Oh, no, it's, I was talking to Brent and crew. Don't worry about your English, honey. You're totally doing fine. As someone who speaks 2 languages now, I have an awful lot of tolerance. English, having taught English, I now realize just how messed up this language is. It's a serious.
Oh, English is broken on every level.
English is such a messed up language, so nobody's going to give you grief nobody's going to make fun of you for English mistakes. We're natives and we make mistakes. So don't worry, your English is perfect. Japanese is a wonderful language. If you're coming from an Asian-based language, it's going to be easier for you than English. Like English speakers, because Spanish and French are all in the same family, it's easier for us to learn Spanish and French than it would be to learn Japanese. If you're already speaking an Asian language, all of the ones that are in that same family are easier to learn. And like if you get that sort of lower Southern Asian, like Hindi and that kind of language group, those actually have an easier time also getting to the more north languages, because they're all based off of that Proto-Mongolian language that was what was out there 15,000 years ago. So that was a long time ago. Okay, we've got the cover. Look at us. Okay, I'm going to open up. Let's talk about a back cover. I would love to learn Thai. The characters are beautiful. Like I love all languages. So yeah, I think that's a wonderful idea. I would love to learn Thai. I want to learn Mandarin. I want to learn Thai. I want to learn Hangul, which is Korean. I think that's also a very fascinating language. I have like zero interest in Spanish or Italian or German. Oh man. I'd like no interest in European languages. I'm just interested in Asian languages. But that's okay. Yeah, and I think I've got a little bit of a head start because I speak Japanese. So again, being able to branch in is good, I think. I need to open this one right here. And we're going to talk about, we're already set. So see you in 10 to 15 minutes, Brent. Okay, so I'm just going to go on ahead and set this back page up to be as it stands. And I finished. There we go. Did you see this, Brian?
No, I haven't. Hang on.
This page here?
No, I haven't
This
seen
is
any
the-
of your comic.
Well, fine. Be that way.
I-
See if I call you my friend. I'm unfriending you from Facebook right now.
Oh God, the threat continues.
I know, right? So I spent like all of last week building this set for the comic. And so I just test drew my character in the seat here. And she looks pretty good. I think she looks fine. So I like the overhead panels. I was like, I really want to design this set where it's got overhead panels, because that always seems like anytime you see a pilot, they're always importantly pushing buttons and switches up here. You know, that's how you
Yeah.
know it's an airplane. You know, otherwise they're pushing buttons down here, and that makes it a boat. I don't know. I have no logic, but I like it. So there's that. I have seized up Clip Studio. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, I'm looking for a picture to put on the back. So we're going to do that. We're going to go in here to guide the orange, and I'm going to sit there and say Latrix Rising. We're looking for something to put on the back. So I'm going to go into my illustrations and look around at what do we have that I could put in the back. There are a lot of pictures that are like not of the current uniforms, like they're not in their right uniforms, or in older uniform versions or something.
You know, you could actually still use those and dedicate the first couple of pages to the first issue to them getting the new uniforms.
Getting new uniforms.
Yeah.
Was that you? What's up? What's up? What's up? You want screeches? that what you're after?
Yeah, I'll take Scritches.
You'll take Scritches? Urgh. Oomph. No. It's a visit from George. What's on your mouth? What are you into? Oh, I think George has mauled something. This is George. So this is when I say that, it's coffee with Guy and sometimes George. This is the George in question. So he comes to visit from time to time and be part of the show because he likes to be part of the show sometimes. So he's just a good cat and he's like just hanging. But he now knows that he gets Scritches and I can take a George break. He's purring. Lots of purring. The only problem is that when he gets this way, he also starts kneading and doing the claw thing. And he starts clawing my arm. And I'm like, really? 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 You're such a pest. You're my pest. Okay. Back to work for us. So I like these pictures. These are great pictures right here. But it's the, I just filled the whole thing. I didn't mean to do that. I've got sort of, but I've changed the uniform colors. I wonder if I could just do a fill. The only problem is this service uniform has no pockets.
This is going to be on the pack. This is going to be on the back cover, right?
Yep.
So don't worry about it as much.
I'm worrying about it.
I know you're worrying about it. I'm telling you, don't worry, be happy.
Right? You're like, I can tell you're worrying about it.
It's more important that it's there and not... people want everything to be perfect, and I'm slowly realizing more and more that that's a fallacy. That makes you not finish things. So it's better to be there than gone, if that makes sense.
Aw, thank you. I appreciate that. I actually kind of worry about my art style a little. Yeah, you're not wrong. But I also have color codes, so I can just change her colors. And so I will. Except that apparently I'm going to change all of these codes so I can change her codes up. It was a darker blue, and then I found the perfect blue, which is also a creepy anime. But in this instance, it wasn't a creepy anime that I discovered. It was a perfect color of blue. I didn't tell you that story, did I?
What?
The finding of the perfect blue?
Yes, you did. It was your grandmother's seat.
Yeah. So, okay, okay, good. Then I've told you. Then I don't need to tell you again. Let's just pick something where we've had her before here. So this is this light blue we want right there. And we can go through here and then just change those colors. And then it won't be perfect that it doesn't have pockets. That's okay. But I can repurpose this and we can reuse this with almost the correct uniform. It's not that much different. There are a couple of things this uniform does not have, though, which is fine. I'm not saying I'm not going to use this. This is just fine. We can use this picture. I like this because I love her pose. I like all the poses that I did on this one. Okay, we need this orange. We need that orange right there, because we changed all of our key colors. Oops. She doesn't have the emergency stripes on here either, on this uniform, which is okay.
And over here, we paint a happy little stripe.
I'm not going to go that deep into this, I don't think. I don't think I'm that interested. I'm going to put in the emergency colors on everything else, but this is a non-surface. So the dark blue a little darker. I'll tell you why we got these colors. There's two things. One, manga is in black and white, and so really this is, I'll show you what we do here. The color is only for covers, and if I paint it physically, normally we would see it like this. And the idea is that I have 3 uniform colors. There's a purple, this blue, and then a light green. And all 3 of them show different shades in black and white. So this blue shows up almost the same as both colors. And there are only 2 people on the ship that wear this blue. And everybody else wears either the purple or the light green. And so, and then my Marines wear dark blue, so that they're hard to see. More like this color, dark blue, really dark. So she's not normally in you won't see her normally in these colors. So also, here's a thing. This is what we've called Tamarbeshi. And it's the no, you can't see it. This is Tamarbeshi. There we go. Tamarbeshi right here. Because I really like Star Wars and its Arabeshi, which is the characters you see in the background of Star Wars. It adds a certain amount of this is someplace else, but it's a real place sort of feel. So I invented my own language characters. It's really just a font that I made, but that's okay. It's a fun font, and sometimes I write real things in there, and then sometimes I don't, and it's funny. So, okay, the question is, do we want to use this picture on the back here? No, you're not helping me. Like that. There we go. So we've been doing a lot of discussion about trade dress and graphic design while doing this world building over the last however many years, or how many 2 years that we've been world building in Bellatrix. And there is a format called Astronet, which is the trade dress for this particular story. And the Astronet is just these like graphic designs that I add to it that gives sort of a feel of its universe, of the universe that it's in. And so here we go. So there's actually like, I'm going to tell Hone the story because I know I've told you the story of the perfect blue, but I'm going to tell Hone the story now. So I have always been very attracted to a specific shade of blue. And I didn't know why until I was at my sister's house recently. And my sister has a stool that came from my great grandmother. And my dad had repaired the stool. It had gotten destroyed in a move. My sister had moved a lot from different places. And during one of the moves, the movers crushed the stool, broke it into little teeny pieces. And my sister was so sad. And my dad said, "Hey, I can fix this." And so he did. He took it into his shop and he fixed it. And when he did, he resurfaced the seat cushion. He put a new piece of fabric on it. And he just picked my grandmother, not my great grandmother, but my grandmother had a fabric shop. So she used to sew and have like an entire shop full of fabric. So we still have fabric from that fabric shop that we've still got. And so my dad took some of the fabric that he had found from his mom's fabric shop or my grandmother's fabric shop, and he resurfaced the seat. Well, my dad passed away in June. And so I was down with my sister hanging out at her house, and I saw the stool, and I hadn't seen it since my dad had fixed it. And it had this beautiful blue fabric on the seat. And I said, and it hit that point in my head that made me feel really good, and like that part of my brain that really likes that shade of blue. And I said, "Where did you get the fabric?" Because my sister tends to do these things, like she'll go out and get fabrics and stuff and resurface things. And she said, "Oh, Dad did it." I said, "He did? Where did he get the fabric?" "Oh, from Nana." "Oh, it's okay. Don't worry." So, and I appreciate that. But my dad was, he was in his 70s. Actually, he was almost 80. So I probably should slow down a little. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that it's not easy to listen to people talk really fast in their native tongue. Let me see if I can find a picture for you, because I know I have the picture. Maybe I put it in family history. No, maybe. Or maybe not. I don't know where the heck I put it. I put it somewhere important. Probably important documents. Yep. There we go. Important documents, right where it should be, where it's important. Okay, so here we go. So this is a chair that my great grandmother, that's my dad's mom's mom, so great grandmother, had. It was damaged in a move, and my well, and if you can understand anybody from Florida, you're doing great. I'm just saying. So it was damaged in a move, and my dad rebuilt it. And when he did, he put this blue fabric on it. And I really like this blue fabric. I really, really, really did. And So it came from my grandmother's shop. My grandmother had a business where she sold fabric. And so I asked my sister where, I didn't know. And she said it came from Nana's shop. Nana is what we called my grandmother. So I checked its color, right? This is the color for it. I have an app on my phone that can see colors and tell me what their hex number is and what their values are. And so when you look at this color of blue, you'll see it's the same blue. So I put them all in that blue uniform so that it matches this blue, because that's what I call my perfect shade of blue. And it reminds me of my childhood. And the theory that we have is that my sister and I, we think what happened was my grandmother had this ultra suede. It's called ultra suede, and it feels really very nice. Did you do all of that while we've been doing this?
Yes.
Okay. I would just like to say that you sicken me.
We've known this for a while.
Right? This is nothing new. So, okay. Anyway, so that's why this shade of blue, if you're wondering, it's my favorite shade of blue, and that's why. So, the perfect shade of blue. It reminds me of my grandmother, reminds me of my dad, and that's cool. Especially since it's my dad that sort of got me to do this. So we've been kind of tootling along here on this. So there we go. Are you drawing from My Hero Academia?
Yes. So this is the character Froppy.
Aha! Hone got it. Good job, actually. Good eye. I should put that little tag on you so that you can remember what your name is. There we go. I'll add that.
I didn't realize you forgot what my name is.
Well, no, but Hone remembered your name, and I was like, oh,
there you go.
That's really cool. I probably should put your name down there, though. Because that's helpful. And that way people can find you. Because people can find me. I'm up here on the upper corner, but finding you is kind of hard.
Ah. Oof.
Ooh, ah. You know what you need to do? Stand up.
I also need a new chair.
You need a new chair. Stand up and chair. That's all right. We've got it now. Right here. Right here. I don't have a chair. So there.
Well, aren't you special?
I am special.
Mr. Fancy Pants.
Look at Mr. Fancy Pants not having a chair.
Where are you escaping from?
I gave her pockets at one point in time, too. And this might be easier. I don't know. Maybe? Because this looks like this is between... Yeah, okay. This is actually probably an easier one to use because she's already got all of the right setup. She just doesn't have the right colors. Right? We could use this one too. And I don't have to worry as much about this not having the... There we go. 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 the correct, here we go, the correct emergency equipment on the uniform, because it is correct. So these service uniforms are capable of protecting them from the vacuum of space for a certain amount of time. There we go. Got that, got that, got that. All is good. There, now I'll do a light version so we can get the highlights, which is right here and here and there. No highlights on that side, but there are highlights right here and here and here and right there. Actually, wasn't that hard to put her in the correct color codes. So that's also an option. We can either use any of these here, or we can use this one. Both of those work. On shading. Shading is, are you talking about just like how to shade with colors, or how to, or where you should shade? Welcome back. Because I feel like, Brian, that's a good question. What's a good advice for shading?
Like, how do you mean? What
That's a
style
good
are you
question.
going for?
I don't know exactly where Honey's headed, but I'll where you should shade. Okay.
So you should shade in the direction of the light.
Yep, you have to be aware of where your light is. I'm looking for Max. Got Max. Right, here's good old Max. So Max is my visible human model, which my dad gave to me when I was 7 years old, and he painted all of Max, and it was really nice of him. So, and after he passed away, I found out that he had saved Max, and Max was still hanging out at his house, and I didn't even know that, and it's really cool. Anyway, that's the story of Max. Since my dad has recently passed away, he plays a big factor in a lot of things. So yes, in a way, that's what you want to do when you want to think about is which way the light is hitting on the object, right? And then which side is going to be on the dark side of the light. When you have as bright a light as Max is kind of scary. He's actually scarier than when people see Max, they're always like, wow, that's really terrifying, because my dad painted the eyeballs. And so, but since I was 7 when I got Max, and Max has been sort of part of my life since I was 7 years old, I actually do not notice how scary his eyeballs are. So maybe I'll find something better to use. We'll use Shammy. Shammy is a character from Macross, right? So if we look at Shammy and we look at the way that her face is set up right now, stop there. You can see that the light is coming from this side. So it's going to be all in here inside her face right through there. And we've got sort of a dark zone back here. And we've got a highlight right there. So we want to know that the important thing is the light's coming from right here. Right? And so it's heading this way. And so the hot spot is right there. Chamois from Macross, ladies and gentlemen. Because I just have Macross stuff hanging out here all the time. I actually was looking around trying to figure out what else I might have. Moving back to our monitor, when I, like, these guys now don't have any shadow on them. So if we were to take, say, this picture right here, right? And we were to add a new layer. Usually what we talk about is not using black. I always use black for my shadows, and I really shouldn't. It's a bad habit, so I'm not going to teach you to do that. Use a purple, like a dark purple, to do your shadows, okay? And then what I'll typically do is I'll set my pin. I'll go to G pin, or actually I'm going to go a technical pin for this one because that's it'll be easier. So I'll get myself a nice big pin like this one right here. And I'll set this for multiply. You can't see it because it's on the right side, but I'm setting my layer for multiply. And then I'm just going to go in here and put in sort of a dark purple, but I want to think about where the light's coming from, right? And I usually set it for about 34%. So the light's coming from this side. We know what a face, how sort of the face is shaped, right? Because you can think, if you think about it, you've got kind of a line like this, and then it kind of goes through, and then it's going to come out like so, like over her cheek, right? And we're going to think the same thing about her nose, right? And then we'll have sort of a line like this where it'll go into this part of her face and around, like so, right? Since the light's coming from above, her chin is going to be like into this shadow, but not all of it, because her jaw is going to come back to her face. Yeah, I know. And I do it all the time. And Brian does too, and it's bad. Brian, we can't do that. It has to be in purple. It's so bad. That's such a bad habit. We really are sucking at this. We're sucking at art here, Brian. We're sucking at art. Okay. So
well, see, I do shadows a little bit differently from you, so
that's true too. So looking at this, I now know that like this section is going to be in shadow through here, right? And I know that it's going to be under here, under her face is going to be in shadow. And, you know, if I cover her ear, I've done too much, and I can tell because her ear is going to be not in shadow right here because the light is going to pass by her head and hit right there, right? So this all is going to stop being in shadow. Then actually, what a lousy shadow I've got going on here. It should be like this, right? And then if you think about it also, she probably is going to have just a little bit above the cheek right there because the light won't, it's going to hit a shelf right here, right? So it's going to hit like a shelf in our face. The light's going to kind of stop here. So we want to make sure we show that this area is light. And then under her eyebrow would be all in shadow as well because the light's coming from above. So her eyebrow is going to cast onto her eye. And because she has Asian features, she has what's called an epicanthal fold, which is that fold over on the eye. With Caucasians, it would roll in and then pop back out. But the Asians have that epicanthal fold, which folds over the eye. So it's a lot flatter. This zone's going to be flatter. This is why it's important to know your anatomy, and not just know your anatomy, but like know the different types of anatomy, different types of people. Her nose is also tilted up. Like it's tilted up. She's got a little button nose. So this curve has got to, I've got to make this curve happen here like this. And then again, just kind of like that. Boonk, right? Because we're now showing that curve and a bump on the nose. She's got a bump on her nose. She also has freckles. Because freckles are adorable. I say that mostly because I think freckles are adorable. Also, my wife has freckles, and I think they're adorable. So there's that. So, kind of hitting the bottom there. And we kind of go like this to give just the shadow of the nose. And I can come back and trim it back like so. And depending on where the light is, if the light starts moving more up like here, then this shadow and this shadow will start to connect. And we go over this, and it's what we call the planes of the face, right? We have the front plane like this. We got these side planes that go sideways like this. But then if you look at our cheeks, like the front of the cheek is like this, and it's shaped kind of like this. So the bottom part of the cheek and then the upper part of the cheek, and then your eyes are there. So as the light moves up, we get more shadow here, and then it covers into the eye like so, right? And of course, you're also going to start getting that shadow over here as well, right? It's going to start blocking out this entire area down here. But this is a plane that goes forward like so. So we don't quite cover through here until that light is directly above. But we do get into this zone here. So this becomes shadow like so. And all we're left with then is just the top of her nose right here, and then this part. And even the nose is going to start losing lighting to the top here, right? And then we're going to get to the bottom of her chin like so. And then this here, just set it and screwed it up. So there we go. So you get kind of this effect from a light coming from directly above. And the thing is, when you talk about highlights, then highlights should be done in reds. Reds, not white like Brian and I use.
This is quickly becoming do as I say, not as I do.
Do as I say, don't do as we are doing, because we suck. I set this usually for an overlay or a screen. And this is on a different layer. And then you can put this on in sort of a highlight zone, kind of like this, and just highlight areas like that. And that gives the highlight there. And then you just tone it back. Right? Our faces have a lot of color going different ways. Caucasian faces are more transparent. The skin is more transparent. So we see a lot more of the blood vessels underneath and the coloration. So the whiter the skin, the lighter the skin, the more you're going to get red through here and blue here and up and through that area. And that's just the coloration of people. The darker the skin, the more olive the skin, the more it goes into sort of a greener tone or a yellow tone. The more that there's more pigment in the skin, and then you don't see the blood vessels as much. That's why you don't generally see it's very hard to see a blush in, like, say, Asians or the darker skin tones that are like in Africa and stuff like that. It's very hard to see a blush. But like African skin gets so dark that it shines, and then you get a really interesting reverse effect where it highlights. And we get the same thing with black hair. So This is probably, by the way, the lousiest red I could have ever picked for this because she looks sick. So don't use this red. So when you get to the point where you have so dark, it highlights. But so here's our light, right? So the light highlight is going to be right there with this, right on the edge, right? And then you look from there and it's going to be there, right? You look from there and it's going to be there. The shinier the skin, the more those highlights get to be towards white, right? So, for example, I always put a dot on the lips because most people, they lick their lips and that makes them wet and then they reflect. You get the same thing from the eyes. You know, when we get into these eyes, you get a highlight here and a highlight there sort of thing, right? So you can kind of see her eyes are normally brown, but we get these highlights. So looks ridiculous. Now Brian is over there doing it wrong. He's not doing it wrong.
I'm doing it differently. I am doing it the proper way, using blacks and whites.
Right? Like
completely,
you can't tell me different.
Completely ignoring what is being said.
Right. So I hope that helps a little bit. I would, if I were you, do practice work, like practice just drawing a face and then practice doing different lights. That's what I did. I just kept practicing different light angles. I even took something like, like my chamois here, and I'll show you what I did. One of the things we can do, you can take your phone, right? And you can put your phone and just look at how it changes. Very hard to see because the camera does not really want to deal with it. You can see,
your thing's at 11?
Just using the phone light, we can see how it changes.
Okay. See you later.
Right?
Sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. I mean, I'm going to make fun of you, but that's nothing new.
Yeah, well, that's almost to be expected at this point.
At this point, absolutely. Yeah. One of the things, though, getting back here, one of the things that is big with manga art, which I'm guessing is the style you use. Okay, I'm doing what I just told you not to do. I'm using black, but it works really well to illustrate the point. And I'm old, and because I'm old, I don't change well, and so that's that. So there you go. One of the things is you follow the contour lines, but you do it in smooth motions, like so, right? We've got a chest, so the breast line is going to go out and then back. So that gives me this sort of area where I'm going to have to go underneath it like this to give this kind of structure. And one of the things that we do in lighting, when we set up lights for photographing, let's say I'm photographing a model in photography, you set up what's called a 3-light setup. With a 3-light setup, we have a person standing here. We have one light here that's called the key. The key light is very, very bright. Then we have another light that's usually behind a screen or with an umbrella, and that's called a fill. And the fill light gives what's called diffused light. So it gives light, but it's not as bright. right? And then we put a third light, which is very, very, very bright, which is called a hair light. And we put that behind them. So here's our camera, right there. And this is called a 3-light setup. So this is key, fill, and hair. Really hard to read. Hang on. Excuse me. I'm allergic to Wednesdays. But what this means is you think about this in a 3-light setup. We're going to have over here, we'll use colors to give kind of an idea of what we're doing. You're going to have the key hitting right along here, even on the back of it. You think about just shape here. And this is where the key hits on her face. All of this is going to be in the key, right? Just color all this in, right? Then we'll go to the fill. The fill is going to hit this side right here. All of this over here. Right? And then the hair is going to hit this rim right about the back like this with a very bright, bright light. And it's going to probably touch the back of her ear, right? Oh, man, barely see that. Okay. So knowing that this is the case, this section right here too is going to be also in the fill, right? So the fill's going this way. The key is going this way. And the hair is coming in from behind. So when you do it that way, you can kind of see where things are going to be with this lighting setup if you have a 3-light setup. This then translates directly to how you're going to shade your object, right? So we add a raster layer here. And we go in with black because, I just said don't do this, so we're doing it. We're going to follow the contours here of this side of the face because this side is in shadow, right? And then we'll come along back here in the back and stuff like that. And we'll come through here like so. And that gives you that. And you can see now we have, oh, look, we get to buy followers. That gave you 1/2 of, yeah, see, that's not a usable name. I can't use that name. So, honey, one of the ongoing jokes is every time I have a bot troll in one of my areas, like coming in usually from YouTube, and it comes up on here, I will usually write the name down and it becomes a bad guy in my comic. So that's the sort of the ongoing joke. So there, that gives me one side here, which literally looks like I've got a light coming from this side over here, right? We can kind of see the light shining on this side. But we want to also illustrate the hair light. Now the hair light is so bright that it actually comes across as white. So usually what I will do is not put anything on there, or not diminish it by shrinking it down or anything like that. And I just do this. Right? There we go. So the hair light would be then along, and of course I'd be much more careful than this in real life. I'm just making an example so you can kind of see what we're talking about. And if I really want to, I can put that down just a little bit more, but her hair is coarse and thick, and so it shines. Unlike my hair, which is just gray and miserable. So there's that. But her hair is very coarse and thick, so we can just kind of go across like so, and that's how you get that. And if you really want to make this interesting, you can take a new raster layer, go over here to your really floofy, soft pin, and just come back in here like so, with like a bright pin. It makes it look like it's really shining, like it's so much that it's blowing out the camera a little, you know. So that's how.
Okay, so I'm done.
You're done? You got 9 minutes left.
Now go back in there and fix all those shadows to how I told you to do it.
It's funny, you know, I'm making jokes about how we shouldn't use black and white. And the truth is, the reason you don't use black and white is because it's slightly more flat. That's a flat tone. So it looks flatter. However, when you're dealing with comic style and what we call toon shading, which is what we're doing, you actually want a little bit of flat. But current artists, not artists who started drawing based on toon shading from the 80s and the 90s, like me, current artists have got much more depth coming through even on their artwork. I call myself a production artist and less an illustrator. So, like, I don't think that my art is spectacular. It's designed to transmit a story. If I spend quality time on it, I can do it and make really nice pieces. But the goal for especially Bellatrix Rising is to get to the point where I can do a page an hour from blank. So a lot of the stuff that we do is shortcuts. And one of the shortcuts that I do is I just take black and do 33% multiply on top of another layer. And then that works just like that. And it looks just like what Brian's showing. It's just the black layers. Then you go in over it and do that. And then I'll go back in with white on the other side over here. And this white would be at just overlay. So to set the layer. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say set the layer? Because I can show you that real quick. When you look over here on this side, and I can't zoom in very well, but it says normal, darken, multiply, color burn. This multiply function, okay, good. If you know what I'm talking about, then I don't need to explain it. We're all good. I set my white, though, for overlay. This is generally what I do. So that works. And there's beautiful. That's awesome. So, and the point of my show every day has been, as I was just talking to Brian about, no fighting you two. As I was just talking to Brian, the whole point of my show is so that you have a place to go where you can do your work. So you can join me every night and draw if you wish. And I'll be here. And you can ask me questions. You ask Brian questions. Sometimes Brian's here. Sometimes Brian's not. Sometimes a friend of mine, Pepper, is here. And he joins. And sometimes Colton will join. But he's been busy these days. So we'll see. But all three of us have different art styles. Very, very different art styles. Hey, Brian, all this stuff that you're practicing doing, by the way, will help you for NDK. If you ever want to get into NDK.
I probably will try to get into NDK.
Our tables are a lot more expensive, though. A lot more expensive. All right. The question is, I don't like this picture or pose as much as I like these pictures and poses. But I also kind of feel like there we go. These pictures and or poses are not as. You can do that. I'll be here. As many as you want to join me, and I'll help out, and we can keep going. And you'll see. I also use what's called maquettes. I use 3D models to assist, which cuts a major amount of time out. Which is something Brian does not use, but that's totally okay because actually Brian's really fast already. Doesn't really need to do that. So, okay. I think we're coming up on the end of the show, though. I like your drawing.
Thank you.
I like the blues that you added back there.
Yeah, it kind of sets off the colors.
It does. It really makes the colors pop and shine. I like it. I'm trying to understand the stripes.
Don't understand the stripes.
Don't. Just don't. It's just gonna hurt. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put you and me side by side with your art in the middle. You are, speaking of weird lighting, though, you are really backlit.
Well, that's because I have two. So behind me is a lamp, a ceiling lamp, and in front of me is a ceiling lamp. There's two lamps in this room, and they're about 4 feet away from each other. Like this room is so there's two heating vents in here, so I fry constantly. And then I have these two lights which like eliminates all shadows.
Oh, I didn't get to show you that I actually have been working on my work center over here. I don't know if you've seen it recently.
No.
But I've got a zone over here where I have this set up so that you can actually see things over here. It's kind of cool. Here, I'm going to actually close your art temporarily so that we can do this. And then, yeah, I've got this area now.
Oh, nice.
So I can actually work over here. And this is great for when we have painting days. Because I can put my paints out here. And, I've got like my water cup and stuff like that and things. Also, I mean, if I ever do anything that requires my Copics, right? That's actually kind of cool. Wait, that's pretty kick butt.
Yeah.
That's an effect. That's a super awesome effect, actually. Now I'm like all like enamored with that. But if I ever need to do Copic work or whatever, I've got my Copics over here and everything like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm actually pretty excited. When we've been doing Watercolor Wednesday in the past, I've just been doing the watercolors over here. So on there. And I have that. I went and bought a brand new cutting mat for it. And then I've got, you can barely see it, but my iPad is right here so that I can read the screen. So I just log in to my own show and then I can read the screen. So cool. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. What are you using to draw your art?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I
From Honey.
use Clip Studio Paint, which used to be Manga Studio, and I have XP Pen.
Your monitor is pretty. Which model?
The 15-inch one. I think it's similar to the one you have.
Yep, slightly smaller, but not bad. So he's using a XP Pen 15. I think it's 15E Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm using a 22E Pro. So we're both using effectively the same thing, which means that if we ever have a problem with our styluses, we can trade styluses.
Also, too, you know about the nibs, right?
Yep. What about the nibs? Wait, maybe. What about the nibs?
You know that they're in this, right?
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Yes. I'm like, oh, wait, what? Do they explode?
Yeah, they hold the nibs down here in the base.
But and Honey, yeah, they are pretty expensive. However,
they're cheaper than Wacom tablets.
They're much cheaper than the Cintiq. And the Cintiq is brutally expensive. But you know, this pen, the XP pen that I've got, the 22E, was about $400, which was really steep. But its equivalent Cintiq is about $1,200, so much more expensive, but worth it. So worth it. I used to use a bamboo tablet, just a normal tablet that plugged in, and it was hard for me to do the drawing like this. I have to look up here and draw here. It was very difficult for me, and so this is so much better. Because it's a monitor and I just draw directly on the monitor. It works so well. So, okay, it's 11:02 local time. Brian's sending me stuff. I think yes. The answer to your question is that.
Okay.
Hello, Brent. Yes. So you could probably just find it on Amazon, I would think.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to locate.
There. Yeah, it's 500. I got it on sale. But
I think I paid like 300 for mine.
Yeah. But this is what we're using. Why did you change? There we go. This is what I'm using. This guy right here. I love the buttons on the side, but I had to. Yeah. And I feel like I could afford the larger one. But this is the more expensive one. There are cheaper versions. Like here is the 12, right? 11-inch. And it's actually only 170. That's a markedly cheaper tablet. 11 inches. Still kind of small. Because that puts it at, I don't know, about 28 centimeters. Yeah, about 28 centimeters across for the monitor. So from here to here, this is 28 centimeters. Yeah, it's probably pretty steep. But this is probably a better, if you can, I say these monitors are really, really good for all of us because I don't have to. But the Huion also does sort of the same thing, right? They're pretty close to the same kind of critter. This one's a 15-inch, so it's pretty big. I feel like these guys are. Yeah, see, I'm supposed to leave now. It says my computer. Okay. So it was really good to have you with me today, Hone. I hope you join us tomorrow or any other time whenever you have the ability. CT 430. It's not a bad one. Yeah. That didn't help. Look at all the things it came up with, though. Kind of cool.
They
Okay.
make a metal stand? Oh,
Right.
I didn't know about this.
So anyway, I actually go for a walk every day with my buddy, and he waits for me at like 11:15. So I've got to get going. So, however, I will be back tomorrow at this same time, and we're going to keep going because tomorrow we want to have all of these pages set and rigged so that we can do that. And you can join us, and we'll be here, and Brent will join us, and I don't know if Brian will join us. Maybe he will. Maybe you will.
Yeah, I've got some stuff to do, so yeah, I'll probably
Anything
join.
could happen. So I always say at the end of my show, keep your eyes on the stars, which is just a cool thing that I like to say. And I need it done by tomorrow. Says my project manager, Brent, my project manager. I love this. He's been keeping me totally on task. I love it. Thank you, sir. Okay, so that's the end of our show for today. It was good to have you with us, Hone. It was good to have you, Brent. And thank you very much for joining me, Brian. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it. And I will see you all later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Computer, good night.